What's up, everyone? Welcome to my channel. I'm Stephanie Person, and we're going to talk about potassium today because I believe this is like one of the most controversial minerals out there that people really don't understand the importance of it while doing anything that's ketogenic or carnivore diets. Now, the reason why I got the idea of talking about potassium is because, of course, I just had a consultation with a client who could not balance her potassium. Now, she was doing about 1,000 milligrams of potassium. I said, honey, that's too high because the more potassium that you add to feel better, you have to watch the sodium, because if your potassium levels are too high, it drops sodium, and if your sodium levels are too high, then it drops potassium, and you start to have like heart palpitations, a problem getting enough air in. You might feel nauseous. You feel terrible. You'll have like eye twitches, and it's like twitch, 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 or twitch, 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 or your hand will twitch, or something will start twitching, or you'll get cramps in the day or rib cramps. These are things that are happening when your potassium is too low, and this happens all too often. Now, a big problem with people doing a strict carnivore diet, and the reason why I think it's controversial is because people try to get their potassium from like beef and forget about it. It's not going to happen. In fact, a lot of people that do these low carb diets, they just sort of follow what somebody told them to do, and they don't really actually try to find out where their body is sitting when it comes to the way their body is absorbing potassium, the strength of your gut wall, your large intestine, and your small intestine. A lot of you guys, especially the small, a lot of you guys just don't know, right? You just don't know what's going on with the gut wall or your gallbladder. You're not getting into ketosis. You're peeing constantly, but you don't notice it because who's watching how many times they pee? But you lose a lot of minerals. And when you're doing a carnivore diet or a keto diet, and you lose a lot, not so much low carb, high fat, and you lose a lot of minerals when your gut is jacked up. Just is. So let's take a look at some foods. And a lot of these lists, okay, this is a general Google search, we're not going to even touch. And then there's some we're going to touch, but it'll give you sort of a visual of how you can try to get potassium in from your food and not so much from these dang supplements. Let's try, anywho. Now, one of the best sources of potassium is going to come from your garden variety seafood, but then there's also pork. So let's go over this weird list, see if we can blow it up some more, and let's talk about it. So it says that 1 pound of chicken, ground chicken, has 3,772 milligrams of potassium. But 1 pound is too much. We can't have that much. So how much potassium, if you were to get it in like a thigh or even a drumstick, it's probably going to take down your potassium down to around 400 milligrams. And to some people that may not be enough. It just depends. Trout, it's got one small trout, which is 113 grams. It's got 523 milligrams of potassium. That's some freaking, look at this. This is some, I can't blow it up anymore. Trout has a lot of potassium. Sausage, forget about it. And it only, no, I don't want to push processed meats. Crab has 350 milligrams per cup. Leaner meat, a cup is kind of too much. It's 135 grams, a little bit too much in a meal. So you could maybe split up that. But why would we when we've got that trout? Okay, clams. Great. Now here it says 1 pound. Nobody's going to eat 1 pound of clams. But if you do desiccated oyster meat in a capsule, you can get about 3 to 500 milligrams in a capsule. So that's why I'm pushing so much desiccated oysters or clams, because you can also get selenium and iodine, which people are really struggling with selenium and iodine for their thyroid. Now, salmon, one fillet, 318 grams. No, that's too much. I'm sorry. A little 318 grams. This must be weighted. Yeah, this is weighted grams, not total. That's still too much. That's too much. Yeah, I don't think it's total. But salmon is quite high in potassium. So if you guys are getting salmon during your week, here, turkey, a pound. We're not eating a pound. So you're only going to get about 400 to 500 milligrams of potassium, which is great, in, let's say, turkey thigh. Forget the spam. We're not doing the processed meats. Pork, this has 1,642 per pound. Again, we're not eating a pound, so that's going to take us down. If we do um, 4 ounces or 5 ounces, or in weighted for the rest of the world, who works in weighted grams, that's about 113 grams in weighted grams, which is going to put you around for 400, 500. So pork is a really great source of potassium other than your avocado. But to be honest, when people eat avocado, it's more bioavailable than the pork because you got to get through the protein to get to the potassium. Canned tuna is also high, but we get that mercury problem. So canned tuna is every once in a while, but it looks like turkey thigh is approved. Pork is approved. Your mollusks are approved. The darker meat of the chicken, the trout, and sometimes the crab meat. These are the approved ones that I'm like, okay, let's look at some foods that we can get um I mean not ground, sorry, rather potassium from. And a lot of you guys, oh, I forgot beef. Beef is pretty low. 193 milligrams is one patty. One patty is not 190. That's like two patties. You guys, the weighted amount of when they're speaking in milligrams is totally off. 70 grams. No, 39 milligrams in weight is this is way too high in this weighted amount. Way too high. Way too high. 193 milligrams in weight is two patties. Don't listen to them. Ridiculous. Let's talk about some potassium and really try to understand what the dealio is. So there's different types of potassium. There's potassium citrate, there's potassium bicarbonate, there's potassium orotate, I believe, which is for your central nervous system. There's potassium chloride, not good. Only on the skin, not orally. What else is there? There's citrate, glycinate, gluconate, taurate, orotate, and I'm missing one more that's really toxic. But potassium citrate it's the safest one on your kidneys, even though it's not safe. The woman today she was taking 1,000 milligrams of citrate. I said, honey, stop. Like the highest you could go maybe is 500 milligrams split up in the morning and the evening. You can't do more. You just can't. It's too risky. But it is well absorbed. And but I think some people do really well in potassium citrate and some don't. There's potassium gluconate, and this one type is for hypokalemia, which is basically your potassium is out of whack. Potassium chloride is really dangerous. There's also potassium glycinate, which I don't know that much about. I need to go more into it. Chlorides are not. They're really people. They put them in. That's why they're in keto chow and in element. In excess, this is really bad for your kidney. So let's just not take potassium chloride. Let's just avoid that. We don't need to take potassium chloride, and magnesium chloride we can put on the skin, but we don't take orally magnesium chloride. Let me see. Yeah, so basically when you go to the store, the milligrams are like 99 milligrams because when you go higher, it's more of a danger and risk to your kidneys. It does put a strain on your kidneys and can lead to the hyperkalemia, which is elevated levels of potassium. That's what hyperkalemia is, elevated levels of potassium in the blood. And this can disrupt. This is like low or high. It can disrupt your heart rhythm. So you're like, my heart's beating on all this potassium, or my heart's beating on low potassium. Yeah. Let me see here. Aspartate. That's the one. That's a dangerous one too. Don't do that one. Don't do that one. Yeah. So as you guys know, I've spoken about it many times. It's potassium is for your muscle contractions. When you guys are feeling like a lot of lactic acid in your workouts, you're chronically dehydrated, it's because you don't have enough potassium to sodium balance. And please, people, do not do too much salt over potassium because it'll just literally tank your potassium. Blood pressure and heart rate and feeling hydrated. Yes. Well, that's what I'm talking about. So basically, people, I just want to keep reminding you, get on your potassium. Yes. Now, I want to remind everybody as well that when I do videos like this, right, it's a pre-recorded live. I can get right to the point and I can bounce. You can get what you need out of it or not. When I have live streams, it's any direction. I start off talking like about this and I'll do my presentation, and then afterwards I just like to talk to my audience because this is the one chance I have to connect with people. They learn, I learn, they learn, I learn, and it's such a great ping pong match. For those the Karens that I get every once in a while, like, "Oh my god, you're all over the place in this live stream." I know, and that's the way I prefer it. I have to enjoy myself in these live streams, or else there's no point of doing them. They're not easy to do. You're being shotgun with questions, and you just try to help people and share the knowledge that you've learned as best you can. Because the biggest problem with carnivore diets and keto diets is the electrolyte imbalance, and you can damage your heart. You can damage yourself from not getting enough of a balance of these minerals, and especially look into your gut, because you guys, like this woman who was doing 1,000 milligrams of potassium citrate, I'm like, honey, you're not absorbing this very well. Well, let's try another type of potassium. Let's lower it. Let's try to get your magnesium in balance. Let's do a check on your water, and do not oversalt your food. Sometimes you just don't nail it right away. You have to go and do that N=1 experimentation and document it. So then sort of figure out how much potassium your body actually needs. And fix that gut. Don't eat nuts. Because we don't want to lose any more minerals. I am still working on the challenge information, and I will probably soon, hopefully, announce the sign up dates. So they're not ready yet. I'm still working on it. I'm just reminding you all this is what I'm doing. As you can see, all the research and paying more attention to the individual. Also, you can sign up for a consultation. My calendar is wide open if you feel that you need help. I will get you set up to where we can, because today the woman had poor electrolyte balance, poor the numbers of too high potassium, and she had hypoglycemia. So I think that's going to be my next video, to talk about that again. I was like, you're super. She was checking her blood sugar, so it's a good idea to check your blood sugar and ketones. I've done several videos on checking your blood sugar and ketones to find out if you've got histamine, to find out if you're not sleeping well, to find out if you have hypoglycemia, and a lot of you do. And she had a gallbladder problem. So what do you do if you have a gallbladder problem, but you do crappy on carbs, right? You have to eat every couple of hours so you don't literally start doing damage to the body because of your thyroid, because your ketones suck and your blood sugar is too high. But those are more videos to come. Thank you everyone for joining this live stream. I've got so much stuff to do. You can find me on my Instagram at Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. I'm 55, going on 56. I keep reminding everyone to do sort of a video timeline of me doing this for years and years and years, and you can see how it's affected my body. I'll show the abs sometimes. I'll show how I look like in some of my pre-recorded videos, so you can see that I'm very consistent, but it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of hard work, and you have to be ready. Yeah. She also had to get off the decaf. She's like, why is it that Ethiopians drank coffee 1,000 years ago? I'm like, you're not Ethiopian, and this is not 1,000 years ago. You've got really bad leaky gut. So, and blood sugar issues. So we got to look at things a lot differently than the way they used to live their lives in Ethiopia. I think that's it. Yeah, life is good. Stop buying your food from the supermarket. I'm gonna go and show you some of the beef. I have just loaded my freezer rather, with pork and beef, and I'm trying to find a good chicken source. I heard there was an Amish guy that's selling chicken, so I can have a variety. And I got geese eggs, goose eggs, and duck eggs, and chicken eggs from a neighbor today. I feel so incredibly blessed and lucky to have figured it out at a young age to take back my life. And I want you guys to take back your life as well. Peace. Energy. And I'm out. Life is good.